Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We publish new videos every day. Don't forget, grab your smartphone and download the Lava Matra app and stay in touch. Guru Maharaj's message is your advantage. The following is a Sri Krishna Chaitanya book compilation given by His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj on December 30th, 2021 in Sri Mayapur, India.
Karoti Dachalam Yati Satavahan Mande Parvananda Madhavam Harihi Om Tat Sat.
Krishna, dear devotees, today we're reading from the Sri Krishna Chaitanya compilation book, and today's chapter is entitled as Narada instructs Brigari to serve Tulasi and continuously chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra under the section 61 explanation of that verse. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 24, text 260.
তবে সেই মৃগাদি তৃণে নারদ সুস্থ কইল, সুস্থ হইয়া মৃগাদি তৃণে ধাইয়া পলাইল।
The three animals that were half killed were then brought to their consciousness by the sage Narada. Indeed, the animals got up and swiftly fled.
Narada Muni had all the mystic powers. He could heal the animals, they could flee away.
Narada Muni had all the mystic powers. He could heal the animals and then they fled away. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 24, text 264.
দেখিয়া বেদের মনে হইল চমৎকার, ঘরে গেল বেদ গুরুকে করি নমস্কার।
When the hunter saw the half-killed animals flee, he was certainly struck with wonder. He then offered his respectful obeisances to the sage Narada and returned home.
Sometimes showing miracles instills faith in faithless people.
Sometimes showing miracles instills faith in faithless people. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 24, text 265.
যথাস্থানে নারদ গেলা, বেদ ঘরে আইল, নারদের উপদেশে সকল করিল।
After all this, Narada Muni went to his destination. After the hunter returned home, he exactly followed the instructions of his spiritual master Narada. Purport: for spiritual advancement, one must have a bona fide spiritual master and follow his instructions in order to be assured of advancement.
By taking shelter of the devotee of the Lord.
By taking shelter of a devotee of the Lord.
Even this sinful hunter could be purified.
Even this sinful hunter could be purified.
As said in Srimad Bhagavatam verse 2.4.18.
As said in Srimad Bhagavatam 2.4.18. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 24, text 2.
গ্রামে ধনী হইল বেদ, বৈষ্ণব হইল, গ্রামের লোক সব অন্ন আনিতে লাগিল।
The news that the hunter had become a Vaishnava spread all over the village. Indeed, all the villagers brought alms and presented them to the Vaishnava who had formerly been a hunter.
All the villagers are so impressed to see the hunter become a Vaishnava that they brought him rice, other things. He didn't have to hunt anymore.
So all the villagers, they were so impressed to see the hunter had become a Vaishnava that they brought alms. He didn't have to touch any anymore.
He didn't have to hunt.
He didn't have to hunt for himself anymore. Perfect. It is the duty of the public to present a gift to a saintly person, Vaishnava or Brahmana, when going to see him. Every Vaishnava is dependent on Krishna, and Krishna is ready to supply all of life's necessities, provided a Vaishnava follow the principles set forth by the spiritual master. There are certainly many householders in our Krishna consciousness movement who join the movement and live in the society's centers. But if they take advantage of this opportunity and do not work, but live at the expense of the movement, eating prasadam and simply sleeping, they place themselves in a very dangerous position. It is therefore advised that grihasthas should not live in the temple. They must live outside the temple and maintain themselves. Of course, if the grihasthas are fully engaged in the Lord's service according to the directions of the authorities, there is no harm in their living in a temple. In any case, the temple should not be a place to eat and sleep. The temple manager should be very careful about this.
So here, Prabhupada is explaining how temples be a place to execute Krishna's seva.
So here Srila Prabhupada is explaining how temples be a place to execute Krishna's seva.
Not just for eating and sleeping.
Not just for eating and sleeping.
Many people visit Mayapur and they're wondering why the devotees are all busy.
Many people come to Mayapur and they're wondering why are all the devotees busy?
Because the devotees all have seva to perform.
Because the devotees all have seva to perform.
In fact, we have to assign some devotees as a service just to take care of the guests.
In fact, we have to assign as service just to take care of guests.
Otherwise, they're busy on other things.
Otherwise, they are busy with other things. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 24, text 267.
একদিন অন্য আনে 10-20 জনে দিলে তত লয় যত খায় 2 জনে
In one day, enough food was brought for 10 or 20 people, but the hunter and his wife would accept only as much as they could eat.
So the hunter, he did not accumulate excess donations. He took what he needed only.
So the hunter did not accumulate excess donations. He took only what was needed. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 24, text 268.
একদিন নারদ কহে শোনহ পর্বতে আমার এক শিষ্য আছে চলহ দেখিতে
One day, while speaking to his friend Parvata Muni, Narada Muni requested him to go with him to see his disciple the hunter.
Parvata Muni is a great yogi who could travel also by will from planet to planet.
Parvati Muni was a great yogi who could travel also from planet to planet. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 24, text 269.
তবে 2 ঋষি আইলা সেই বেদস্থানে দূর হইতে বেদ পাইল গুরুর দর্শনে
As the saintly sages approached the hunter's place, the hunter could see them from a distance. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 24, text 207.
আস্তে বেস্তে ধাইয়া আসে পথ নাহি পায় পথের পিপিলিকায় ইতি উতি ধরে পায়
With great alacrity, the hunter began to run towards his spiritual master, but he could not fall down and offer obeisances because ants were running hither and thither around his
And here the hunter would enjoy half killing animals.
So here the hunter would enjoy killing half-killed animals.
Half killing animals.
Half-killing animals.
Now he had become so conscious that he didn't want to hurt even an ant.
Now he had become so conscious that he did not even want to hurt an ant. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 24, text 271.
দণ্ডবৎ স্থানে পিপীলিকারে দেখিয়া বস্ত্রে স্থান ঝাড়ি পরে দণ্ডবৎ হইয়া
Seeing the ants, the hunter whisked them away with a piece of cloth. After thus clearing the ants from the ground, he fell down flat to offer his obeisances.
How the hunter is offering his obeisances after clearing away the ants.
How the hunter offered his obeisances after clearing away the ants.
It shows his total change of consciousness.
This shows his total change of consciousness
By the mercy of Narad Muni,
by the mercy of Narada Muni,
his spiritual master.
his spiritual master. Purport. The word Danda means rod, and Vat means light. To offer obeisances to the spiritual master, one must fall flat exactly as a rod falls on the ground. This is the meaning of the word Dandavat. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 24, text 272.
নারদ কহে বেদ এই না হয় আশ্চর্য হরি ভক্তে হিংসা শূন্য হয় সাধু বর্জ
Narada Muni said, "My dear hunter, such behavior is not at all astonishing. A man in devotional service is automatically non-violent. He is the best of gentlemen." Purport. In this verse, the word sadhu varya means the best of gentlemen. At the present moment, there are so many so-called gentlemen who are expert in killing animals and birds. Nonetheless, these so-called gentlemen profess a type of religion that strictly prohibits killing. According to Narada Muni, in the Vedic culture, animal killers are not even gentlemen, to say nothing of being religious men. A religious person, a devotee of the Lord, must be non-violent. Such is the nature of a religious person. It is contradictory to be violent and at the same time call oneself a religious person. Such hypocrisy is not approved by Narada Muni and the disciplic successor.
Now you see how the instructions of Narad Muni purified this hunter.
So we see how the instructions of Narada Muni purified this hunter.
And Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya is coming in the line of Narad Muni.
And the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya is coming in the line of Narada Muni.
Narad Muni is disciple of Narad, of Brahma.
Narada Muni is the disciple of Brahma.
Vyasadeva is disciple of Narad Muni.
Vyasadeva is the disciple of Narada Muni.
Madhvacharya is disciple of Vyasadeva.
And Madhvacharya is the disciple of Vyasadeva.
This way the cyclic succession goes down.
And in this way the cyclic succession goes down.
And in divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada is coming in the line.
And His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada is coming in the line.
He will represent Narad Muni and all the previous acharyas.
He is representing Narada Muni and all the previous acharyas.
And thus, he's training people to be true gentlemen and sadhus.
And thus he is training people to be true gentlemen and sadhus.
Gentlemen and gentlewomen.
Gentlemen and gentlewomen. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 24,
স্কন্দ বচন
O hunter, good qualities like non-violence, which you have developed, are not very astonishing, for those engaged in the Lord's devotional service are never inclined to give pain to others because of envy. Purport. This is a quotation from the Skanda Purana.
Alright, being engaged in devotional service for Vishnu,
So by being engaged in devotional service to Vishnu,
one automatically obtains all good qualities.
one automatically obtains all good qualities. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 24, text 200.
তবে সেই বেদ দুহারে অঙ্গনে আনিল, কুশাসন আনি দুহারে ভক্তে বসাইল।
The hunter then received the two great sages in the courtyard of his house. He spread out a straw mat for them to sit upon, and with great devotion he begged them to sit down.
So, the welcoming of the simple welcoming of the grass mat, sweet words, is exemplary.
So the welcoming of a grass mat and sweet words is exemplary.
A king could offer a golden seat,
A king could offer a golden seat,
but since he's a humble person, he would offer a strong mat.
but since he's a humble person, he could offer a straw mat.
He would offer the best thing he had.
So he would offer the best thing he had. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 24, text 275.
জলানি ভক্তে দোহার পাদপক্ষায় লিল, সেই জল স্ত্রী পুরুষে পিয়াসিরে লইল।
He then fetched water and washed the sage's feet with great devotion. Then both husband and wife drank that water and sprinkled it on their heads. This is the process one should follow when receiving the spiritual master or someone on the level of the spiritual master. When the spiritual master comes to the residence of his disciples should follow in the footsteps of the former uncle. It doesn't matter what one was before initiation. After initiation, one must learn the etiquette mentioned here.
So Prabhupada is doing the etiquette of receiving a spiritual master or someone on the level of the spiritual master.
So Srila Prabhupada is giving the etiquette of receiving the spiritual master or someone on the level of the spiritual master.
By following the system, one will get purified.
So by following the system, one will get purified. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 24, text 276.
কম্প ফুলবশ্রু হইল কৃষ্ণ নাম গাইয়া, ঊর্ধ্ব বাহু নৃত্য করে বস্ত্র উড়াইয়া।
When the hunter chanted the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra before his spiritual master, his body trembled and tears welled up in his eyes. Filled with ecstatic love, he raised his hands and began to dance, waving his garments up and down.
I can see that this previous hunter is becoming a pure Vaishnava and chanting Hare Krishna before the Tulsi plant.
So we could see that the previous hunter was becoming a Vaishnava and chanting Hare Krishna before the Tulsi plant.
He had awakened his ecstatic love for Krishna.
He had awakened his ecstatic love for Krishna.
And this is the protection of devotional service.
So this is the protection of devotional service. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 24, text 277.
দেখিয়া বেদের প্রেম পর্বত মহামুনি, নারদের কহে তুমি হও স্পর্শমণি।
When Parvati Muni saw the ecstatic, loving symptoms of the hunter, he told Narada, "Certainly you are a touchstone." Purport. When a touchstone touches iron, it turns the iron to gold. Parvati Muni calls Narada Muni a touchstone because by his touch, the hunter, who was the lowest among men, became an elevated and perfect Vaishnava. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said that the position of a Vaishnava can be tested by seeing how good a touchstone he is. That is, by seeing how many Vaishnavas he had made during his life. A Vaishnava should be a touchstone so that he can convert others to Vaishnavism by his preaching. Even though people may be falling like the hunter, there are so many so-called advanced devotees who sit in a secluded place for their personal benefit. They do not go out to preach and convert others into Vaishnavas, and therefore they certainly cannot be called Sparshamani, advanced devotees. Kanishta Adhikari devotees cannot turn others into Vaishnavas, but a Madhya Adhikari Vaishnava can do so by preaching. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised his followers to increase the number of Vaishnavas. Yare dekhe tare kaha Krishna Pade, Amara Ajna Guru Hai Arade. Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 7, text 128. It is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's wish that everyone should become a Vaishnava and Guru, following the instructions of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his disciplic succession. One can become a spiritual master, for the process is very easy. One can go everywhere and anywhere to preach the instructions of Krishna. The Bhagavad Gita is Krishna's instructions. Therefore, the duty of every Vaishnava is to travel and preach the Bhagavad Gita, either in his country or a foreign country. This is the test of Sparshamani, following in the footsteps of Narada Muni.
So, of course, Narada Muni was an Uttama Adhikari,
So, of course, Narada Muni was an Uttama Adhikari,
a Mahabhagavat,
a Mahabhagavat.
but he came down to the Madhyam Adhikari level to preach.
But he came down to Madhya Adhikari level to preach.
And by his preaching, he converts many non-Vaishnavas to Vaishnavas.
And by his preaching, he converts many non-Vaishnavas to Vaishnavas.
This is the special outreach program of Narada Muni.
So this is a special outreach program for Narada Muni.
And those coming in his disciplic succession also are to do this.
And those coming in his disciplic succession also are to do this.
This was the desire of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
This was the desire of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu,
That every Vaishnava should make other Vaishnavas.
that every Vaishnava should make other Vaishnavas. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 24, text 278.
স্কন্দ বচন
अहोद्यन्योऽसि वर्षे कृपया वर्ष्य यस्य तत्क्षणात् निचोऽपि उत्पुलखोलेभे लुब्धघोरतिम् अच्युते.
Parvati Muni continued, My dear friend Narada Muni, you are glorified as the sage among the demigods. By your mercy, even a low-born person like this hunter can immediately become attached to Lord Krishna. Purport. A pure Vaishnava believes in the statements of the Shastras. This verse is quoted from the Vedic literature, the Skanda Purana.
So, this history told by Lord Chaitanya to Sanatana Goswami
So this history told by Lord Chaitanya to Sanatana Goswami
is from the Skanda Purana.
is from the Skanda Purana.
And it is a true history
And it is a true history
of what actually happened.
of what actually happened.
And so, similarly, such miracles are performed by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada.
And similarly, such miracles were performed by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 24, text 279.
পরম বৈষ্ণব প্রবর শ্রী নারদের কৃপায় ভক্ত বেদের যোগক্ষেম সমাধান। নারদ কহে বৈষ্ণব তোমার অন্য কিছু আয়, বেদ কহে যারে পাঠাও সেই দিয়া যায়।
Narada Muni then asked the hunter, "My dear Vaishnava, do you have some income for your maintenance?" The hunter replied, "My dear spiritual master, whoever you send gives me something when he comes to see me." This confirms the statement in the Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter, text 22, to the effect that the Lord carries all necessities to his Vaishnava devotee. Narada Muni asked the former hunter how he was being maintained, and he replied that everyone who came to see him brought him something for his maintenance. Krishna, who is situated in everyone's heart, says, "I personally carry all necessities to a Vaishnava." He can order anyone to execute this. Everyone is ready to give something to a Vaishnava, and if a Vaishnava is completely engaged in devotional service, he need not be anxious for his maintenance.
Lord Chaitanya asked Sridhar Thakur that why he was not going out for his maintenance.
Lord Chaitanya asked Srivas Thakur why he was not going out for his maintenance.
I said, well, if I don't get food for 3 days, I'll clap my fingers.
Well, he said, well, if I don't get food for 3 days, I'll clap my fingers.
What do you mean? Lord Chaitanya asked.
Lord Chaitanya asked Shiva, and Shiva said, if I don't get food for 3 days, I'll clap my fingers.
He said, around my neck, I'll tie a stone or something and jump in the Ganges.
He said, then I'll tie a stone or something around my neck and jump in the Ganges.
Lord Chaitanya laughed.
And Lord Chaitanya laughed.
He said, even Lakshmi has to go begging, you'll never be hungry.
He said, even if Lakshmi had to go begging, he will never go hungry.
Haribo!
Hello.
Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 24, text 280.
এজন্য না পাঠাও কিছু কার্য নাই, সবে দুই জনার যোগ্য বক্স মাত্র চাই।
The former hunter said, "Please do not send so much grain. Only send what is sufficient for 2 people, no more." Okay. The former hunter only wanted enough food for 2 people to eat, no more. It is not necessary for a Vaishnava to keep a stock of food for the next day. He should receive only sufficient grain to last 1 day. The next day, he must again depend on the Lord's mercy. This is the instruction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When his personal servant Govinda sometimes kept a stock of harikati, Nirogalam, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chastised him, saying, "Why did you keep it stock for the next day?" Srila Rupa Goswami and others were begging daily from door to door for their sustenance, and they never attempted to stock their ashram with food for the next day. We should not materially calculate, thinking it is better to stock food for a week. Why give the Lord trouble by having him bring food daily? One should be convinced that the Lord will provide daily. There is no need to stock food for the next day.
And this is the path of renunciation.
So this is the path of nivritti, renunciation.
So, what Chaitanya told Govinda Ghosh, that you're keeping go to the next day. This is the path of the Grihastas.
So Lord Chaitanya told Govinda Ghosh that you are keeping food for the next day. This is the path for the Grihastas.
You should get married.
So you should get married. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, text 281.
নারদ কহে ওইছে রহ তুমি ভাগ্যবান এত বলি দুইজন হইলা অন্তর্ধান
Narada Muni approved his not wanting more than a daily supply of food, and he blessed him, saying, "You are fortunate." Narada Muni and Parvata Muni then disappeared from that place.
So, this shows the wonderful seva of Narada.
So this shows the wonderful seva of Narada Muni.
How I could change a hunter who enjoyed half-killing animals
How he could change a hunter who enjoyed half-killing animals
into a pure Vaishnava who was conscious even of ants,
into a pure Vaishnava who was conscious even of ants,
who did not want any additional food grain.
who did not want any additional food grain.
This complete change of consciousness is possible by following pure spiritual master.
This complete change of consciousness is possible by following a pure spiritual master,
A representative of Narada.
a representative of Narada Muni. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 24, text 282.
বেদের আখ্যান শ্রবণে সাধুসঙ্গ মহাত্ম উপলব্ধি এই তো কহিলু তোমার বেদেরও আখ্যান যা শুনিলে হয় সাধু সঙ্গ প্রভাব জ্ঞান
Thus I have narrated the incident of the hunter. By hearing this narration, one can understand the influence of association with devotees. Purport. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to stress that even a hunter, the lowest of men, could become a topmost Vaishnava simply by associating with Narada Muni or a devotee in his bona fide disciplic succession.
And this shows the importance of sadhu sangha,
So this shows the importance of sadhusanga,
or associate with devotees.
associating with devotees.
Lord Chaitanya was stressing this to Sanatana Goswami.
So Lord Chaitanya was stressing this to Sanatana Goswami.
By hearing this pastime, one can appreciate how association with devotees is so superlative.
By hearing this pastime, one can understand by how associating with devotees is so
Superlative.
superlative. Thus ends the chapter entitled Falshruti, the result of hearing about the story of Narada and Brigadi, under the section, the 61 explanations of the Atmarama verse.
Do you like our ad-free videos? Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We publish new videos every day, and don't forget to like and share our channel.